Hello everyone. In this lecture, we are going to see how impedance matching is achieved on a transmission line. While discussing about Smith charts and during the construction of Smith chart, we have seen the main objective of the Smith chart design is to solve the transmission line problems in an easier way. The same Smith chart that we designed is now utilized as a tool to design matching networks on the transmission line. In this lecture, we are going to see how we are going to match a transmission line whose characteristic impedance is ZO with a load impedance of ZL. As we are aware about the formula, the reflection coefficient is given by ZL minus ZO by ZL plus ZO. In order to transfer maximum power from the transmission line to the load, the reflection coefficient value must be equal to 0. If you want to make this reflection coefficient value equal to 0, then the value of ZL must be equal to ZO. But in practice, it is not always possible for us to design our system or load which is equal to the characteristic impedance of the transmission line. Let us say if you have an antenna, you designed it for some application and the impedance offered by that antenna is, let's say it is 100 ohms. Whereas the characteristic impedance of the transmission line that we generally use, let us say if you use a coaxial cable, the characteristic impedance is either a 50 ohm characteristic impedance or a 75 ohm characteristic impedance. If you try to connect this load or the antenna to the transmission line whose impedance is 50 ohms, definitely you are going to get some reflection coefficient which is not equal to 0. Or else you can say a standing wave exists on the transmission line. Now our objective of this class is to match a 50 ohm characteristic impedance of transmission line to a 100 ohm load impedance. In order to accomplish this task, we need a block in between transmission line and the load, and the purpose of that block is to match these two impedances. Let's call this block as matching network. Since this block is only used for matching these two resistances or impedances, theoretically this matching network should not consume any power. That means this matching network must be a lossless network. Let us see what is the work of this matching network. The work of the matching network is, when you see from transmission line point of view, the matching network has to give an impedance of ZO. Then I can say this transmission line and matching network are matched with each other. The second part of this matching network is, when you see from load point of view, this matching network has to provide an impedance of ZL so that maximum power transfer from matching network to the load. In order to reduce the complexity of the problem, let us say this load is a real value and I want to match this real value of load with the characteristic impedance of the transmission line which is also real in nature. So my objective is to match a real value of load with a real value of characteristic impedance. In another perspective, ZL should transform as ZO when you see from transmission line point of view. Similarly, this ZO should transform as ZL when you see from load point of view. In this perspective, I can write this matching network as an impedance transforming network. So therefore, this is impedance transformer. In a short, you can call it as a transformer network. Redrawing the same network, I can represent like this. Therefore, the objective of this transformer is the load should transform like characteristic impedance when you see from transmission line, and the transmission line characteristic impedance should look like the load when you see from load impedance. With this knowledge, Let us design a transformer or else a matching network to match a load which is real in nature to a transmission line whose characteristic impedance is ZO, which is also real in nature. This box is an impedance transforming device. We have a property of impedance transformation in a transmission line model, right? The equation Z of L equal to ZO into ZL cos beta L plus J times ZO sin beta L by ZO cos beta L plus J times ZL sin beta L. We call this equation as impedance transformation equation, right? That means by using a transmission line, I can design an impedance transformer. If the length is varied, the impedance will vary. But implementing this concept on a Smith chart requires a normalized impedance. That's why we designed normalized impedance Z bar of L equal to Z of L by ZO. And we have seen the properties of this normalized impedance. One of such property is this normalized impedance repeats for every lambda by 2 distance. If you want to see the same thing on a Smith chart, let us say I have a normalized impedance here. If I travel a distance of lambda by 2, which means 360 degrees on the graph, again I will reach the same point, which means for every lambda by 2 distance, the impedance repeats. Which impedance? Normalized impedance only. Now we have two questions to design a transformer. The first question is, what should be the length of the transmission line that I have to use to design a transformer, and what should be the characteristic impedance of this transformer? Let us say the characteristic impedance of this matching network or transformer is ZO. Right now it is unknown. Let us put it as unknown value. Since ZL and ZO both are real, the normalized load impedance ZL bar equal to ZL by ZO is also a real value. If you want to represent this point on the Smith chart, on a Smith chart, we know that this horizontal axis is x equal to 0, which means any point on this line is a normalized real value which has only r value which is not equal to 0, whereas x value is equal to 0. ZL bar equal to ZL by ZO. If ZL is greater than ZO, then the point will be available at the right side of this plane. Whereas if ZL is less than 0, the point will be available at the left side of this graph. Anyway, without changing the reflection coefficient, if you want to move on a transmission line, you have to move on this circle which is in blue color, which represents mod gamma equal to some constant. Now on a transmission line, let us say this is our normalized load impedance, which is real. If you want to get a real value again, you have to travel a distance of lambda by 4 on the transmission line. Then again the value is real here. Again, if you travel a distance of lambda by 4 on the transmission line towards the generator, you will reach the same point, which is ZL bar is real. In our case, traveling to the same point does not mean any sense. That's why the only solution which is available for us to get a real value of normalized impedance on this gamma plane is this point. That means if the length of the transmission line is lambda by 4, a real value of normalized impedance will transform as a real value of normalized impedance again at this point. Therefore, I can say this transformer is having a length of lambda by 4. The second objective is to find out the value of ZO unknown, that is the characteristic impedance of this transformer. Since the load is connected at the output terminal of this transformer, the normalized impedance at this point is ZL by ZO unknown. And you know, on a transmission line, for every lambda by 4 distance, the normalized impedance inverts itself. That means if you travel a distance of lambda by 4 towards the generator, again the impedance at this point is 1 by ZL by ZO unknown, which is equal to Z unknown by ZL. Now if you only see this part of the diagram, that means the transmission line along with this transformer, in order to match the transmission line with the transformer, the impedance offered by the transformer, which is equal to Z unknown by ZL, must be equal to ZO. But this impedance is normalized impedance. If you want actual impedance, then ZO unknown by ZL has to multiply it with the characteristic impedance, that is ZO unknown. Now this value has to match with the characteristic impedance of the transmission line. If they has to match, these two values must be the same. Therefore, ZO unknown square by ZL equal to ZO, which is the characteristic impedance of the transmission line. So I can write ZO unknown equal to root over ZO into ZL. Therefore, the characteristic impedance of this transformer is ZO unknown equal to root over ZO into ZL. That is, the characteristic impedance of the transformer is equal to the geometric mean of characteristic impedance of the transmission line and the load value. Hence I can say, in order to match a real value of load impedance to a real value of characteristic impedance of a transmission line, I can use a transmission line itself, that I am going to call it as transformer, whose length is lambda by 4 and whose characteristic impedance is geometric mean of load impedance and the characteristic impedance. Let us take an example to see how you have to design this transformer. Let us say I have an antenna whose impedance is 100 ohms and I have a transmission line whose characteristic impedance is 50 ohms. If I directly connect these two, then the reflection coefficient value is equal to 100 minus 50 by 100 plus 50, that is equal to 50 by 150, that is 1 by 3. Therefore, reflection coefficient gamma equal to 0.33, which is a non-zero value now. That means definitely voltage standing wave ratio exists in this transmission line. Now in order to overcome that, we are going to put a matching network here. This is the matching network, which is also a transmission line whose length is lambda by 4 and whose characteristic impedance is ZO unknown equal to root over 100 into 50, that equal to 70.71 ohm. Therefore, if I can place a transmission line of length which is equal to lambda by 4, whose characteristic impedance is 70.71 ohms, then I can match a 50 ohm transmission line with an antenna whose input impedance is 100 ohm, which is our load. In this case, let us say if the operating frequency is 1 gigahertz, then lambda equal to C by F, that equal to 3 into 10 power 10, which is in centimeters, by 1 into 10 power 9, which is 1 gigahertz, which is equal to 30 centimeters. Therefore, operating wavelength is 30 centimeters. Now, the transmission line of length is 30 by 4, that implies lambda by 4 equal to 7.5 centimeters. Therefore, you have to place a 7.5 centimeters transmission line here in order to match 50 ohm transmission line with 100 ohm antenna. So this is how to match a real value of load impedance to a real value of characteristic impedance of a transmission line. Since the length of this transmission line is lambda by 4, I can call it as quarter wave transformer. Now think about a case if the load is a complex value. Can I use this quarter wave transformer technique even if the load is complex? If this question comes in your mind, definitely it's a good question. Now let us think, if the load is complex, is it possible to match this complex value of load to a real value of characteristic impedance by using a quarter wave transformer or not? If you want the answer, you have to ask it to a Smith chart. In the previous case, the normalized load impedance is taken here or else here. But now, since the load is complex in nature, you are going to get the normalized load impedance at any other point other than these 2 points on the Smith chart. Let us say this is the point where we got normalized impedance as R plus jx value. And now I have to match this with the characteristic impedance of ZO, which is real. In the previous case, if you move a distance of lambda by 4 on the transmission line, you are going to get the normalized impedance of the transmission line, again a real value. Now this is the scenario for us. ZL is complex and ZO is real. Since ZL is complex, on a Smith chart, ZL is available here. If I move this length on the transmission line, this impedance R plus jx will look like a real value at this point. Am I right? That means if I insert a transmission line whose length corresponds to this angle, then the impedance which is available here, which is complex, after traveling this distance will become real at this point. That means, let us say this is the place where I connected the load, and if I travel a distance, let us say L, then the impedance that you are going to observe, which is complex at this point, will be real when you reach this point. If impedance is real here, then let us say that is ZO dash. This ZO dash is a real value and characteristic impedance ZO is also a real value. That means by using a quarter wave transformer, you can transform ZO dash to ZO, and the characteristic impedance of this transformer is ZO unknown equal to root over ZO into ZO dash. Only the thing that you have to do is to convert or transform a complex normalized impedance to a real normalized impedance. That you can do by inserting a transmission line of length L, which corresponds to the angle which is available in between this red color line and violet color line. Now let us extend this concept further. If our load is complex and the characteristic impedance is also complex, if the load is complex, what we did? We added an extra transmission line of length L in between quarter wave transformer and ZL in such a way that the impedance offered at this point should be real in nature. With the same principle, Since the characteristic impedance of the transmission line is complex, what we are going to do is we are going to add a transmission line in between quarter wave transformer and your transmission line, so that the impedance at this point is real in nature. If this is L, let us say here this length is L dash, so that according to this quarter wave transformer, it is just matching a real value with a real value. But as an overall, it is matching a transmission line whose characteristic impedance ZO is complex with a load impedance which is also a complex value. This is how to match a load with the characteristic impedance of the transmission line by using a quarter wave transformer. But there is a problem here. The problem is, let us say ZL equal to 100 ohms and ZO equal to 50 ohms. We already did this problem where we got the characteristic impedance of the transmission line ZO unknown as 70.71 ohms. Now designing this quarter wave transformer whose characteristic impedance is 70.71 ohms is a difficult task, because the characteristic impedance of a standard cable, in most of the cases it is either a 50 ohm or 75 ohm, but the load impedance will vary as the application varies. Let us say if you take another antenna whose load is 200 ohms, then the characteristic impedance ZO unknown equal to root over 200 multiplied with 50, that is equal to root over that equal to 100 ohms. As the load value changes, again you have to design another transmission line whose characteristic impedance is 100 ohms. And you know the characteristic impedance ZO equal to root over R plus J omega L by G plus J omega C, which means if the load value varies, again I have to change the primary parameters like R, L, G, C depending upon the criteria. Indirectly, I have to change the dimensions of the transmission line for each and every application, which is practically not a good solution. The second problem that you are going to face here is the characteristic impedance of this transmission line depends on omega, which is equal to 2 pi f. That means the characteristic impedance changes if the frequency of operation changes. The total design that I have shown you till now for the measurement of L dash or lambda by 4 or L will vary if the operating frequency changes. At each and every time, I cannot change the dimensions of the quarter wave transformer as well as the length that I introduced here and here. These are the main problems with quarter wave transformer. But as long as the operating frequency is constant, this is one of the best solution at very low cost with simple design and good accuracy. While handling this problem or while designing this length, you might get a question whether this length corresponds to the angle which is available here or the angle which is available here, because both this point and this point represents a real value of normalized impedance. The solution is correct even if you consider this angle or this complete angle which is available here. Since this point represents Z max or V max, let us call this length as L max, and this point represent Z minimum. Let us call this length as L minimum. Now the length of the transmission line that you are going to use here may be L max or L minimum. Both the answers are correct with respect to our design. Let us say the characteristic impedance offered by this transmission line is ZO1 in between these 2 points. Then if you want the resistance offered at this point R max, which is available at L max, is equal to characteristic impedance of the transmission line ZO1 dash multiplied with rho. Similarly, if you consider the length of the transmission line as L minimum, then R minimum value at the end of this transmission line is equal to ZO dash, characteristic impedance of the transmission line, by rho. These two values are corresponds to R max, which is available here, and R minimum, which is available here, and the corresponding lengths are L max and L minimum.